Hey everyone, hold on, a bit underdressed, be right back.
One eternity later.
Sorry for the mess, guys. I was gonna put on my makeup, then witch attack happened, and yeah, here I am. So, in defense of Hansel and Gretel, witch hunters.
How do you best kill a witch?
Cutting off her head tends to work.
Hate that one.
Now, I first learned about Hansel and Gretel witch hunters when I was around 12 years old. And I heard the bad reviews. I know people were bashing on this thing. And then, I was 16 at the time when it was on Netflix. I loved it. I honestly loved it. Because I knew what I was getting into. I knew that it was going to be Hansel and Gretel meets Van Helsing. I know it was going to have black leather, guns that didn't even exist back in this film's time period. But it was dumb fun, and I liked it for what it was. So, cut to present day. I am having an October marathon. Day 1, I watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Day 2, I watched Beetlejuice. Day 3, I watched Stage Fright. And today, I watched Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. Now, I got the uncut version, so I don't know what scenes were added, what scenes may have been in the film the entire time that I don't remember. But overall, I still like the movie. And I've had time to mature and really think about my taste in movies. Guess I have shit taste because I still love this piece of trash. And it wasn't even critics bashing it. Well, it was critics, but it wasn't just them when this movie first came out. My mom actually has some friends who, if you ask them what they thought of Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, they will tell you they lost brain cells while watching the movie. They hated this thing almost more than the critics. They would bash this thing. And honestly, I want to have a conversation with them one day talking about why I enjoyed this trashy, over-the-top, dumb flick. Now, the reason why I love this film so much is because it knows what it is. It's a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. This is Hansel and Gretel in black leather with semi-automatic crossbows, Gatling guns, shotguns, and pistols, weapons that didn't even exist in this film's time period, fighting witches, which, I gotta say this, love or hate the movie, the practical effects look absolutely incredible. Yeah, there's some CGI gore here and there that flies at the screen since this thing was filmed to be in 3D, but the practical effects, when they're done right, look absolutely amazing. The practical gore, the look of the witches. I gotta talk about this. The look of the witches in this movie is incredible. Also, the troll most definitely had some CGI added onto him. But the CGI on the troll, Edward, was used to enhance the makeup. And he actually did look really cool. Also, speaking of Edward, Edward is the most precious character in this entire movie, and we must protect him. Hashtag Edward 2020. Another thing that I actually really appreciated was the fact that they give Hansel basically diabetes. They don't say it's diabetes, but let's be honest, it's diabetes. So that's kind of wasted because he just has extended scenes where he apparently doesn't need it. But it's still I guess ambitious? Not really ambitious, but makes sense considering that this dude had a witch stuffing his face with sweets, so obviously he's gonna have some blood sugar issues. And speaking of Hansel, I thought the brother-sister relationship that he has with Gretel worked really well. I could tell that these two were siblings. They had some really good back and forth banter together. They were pretty funny, and I actually liked their sibling dynamic. Now, this is an in-defense video about it. Don't know why I did that in air quotes. But there are problems with the movie. Like I said, Hansel has basically diabetes, has to inject himself with the serum or else he will die, and he has to inject it every 2 hours. As I mentioned before, there are extended scenes where he doesn't use it, he's perfectly fine, and it doesn't really come into play until the final fight at the end. Speaking of Hansel, again, there is this relationship that he has with this girl who, spoiler alert, if you want a spoiler warning on Hansel and Gretel witch hunters, turns out to be a good witch. And yeah, no, you do not buy that these two have anything in common. Like, they meet once after Hansel and Gretel save her from being falsely lynched. They meet once when they skinny dip in this magic water, which you can definitely tell they fuck. And then, like, they meet each other again, and it's just, you barely buy that these two have a relationship because they just meet once and all of a sudden, like, the next time they meet, they have sex in a, like, magic river. It's admittedly dumb. Another big problem people have with this movie is the acting. Now, generally, generally the acting is fine. Jeremy Renner and Gemma Arterton have great chemistry, but the witches, oh my god. The witches are so fucking over the top.
They always sound like this, like there's some witch from like a 90s or an 80s movie.
I don't know why I just sounded like Beavis and Butthead, but there you go. But admittedly, the witches do overact, and that bit that I did, it wasn't exaggerated. They sound just like that. But despite its shortcomings, including continuity errors, a romance you do not give a shit about, the witches overacting, and some parts that really don't make sense, I still love this dumbass movie. Is it good? No. Is it dumb? Yeah. Do I love it? Yes. And do I give a shit if people constantly trash it? Hell no! To be honest, if I were to rate this movie, I'd give it a B+. I know it's stupid, but I just don't care. This movie is just so fun. Like, that's the best way to describe this movie. It's just fun. If you don't look too deep into it, if you don't try to overanalyze it and just watch it with some friends, get drunk, high, whatever, you will have a fun time with Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters. And honestly, like, rewatching it, it was probably the best choice because I got to revisit one of the dumbest movies I could have ever seen, and I am honestly thankful I got to see it again. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go wash this blood off of me and get out of this leather because it's getting really hot and I don't want my face to look like this when I wake up. So I'm gonna go. Take care and have a safe and happy Halloween, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.
You got it, kid.